flexible working is more than just location flexibility. So at the moment, when people talk about hybrid and they talk about people working flexibly, it's just about where they do the job. So they sit in the office, they sit in a coffee shop, they sit at home, right? That's just about location flexibility. Now, that's important. People have learned that it helps them with their life. I quite like, I work 2 or 3 days in London, but I spend a couple of days at home. I get 3 hours back a day. That makes me much more productive. It means I could do other things at home and all of that. So it certainly suits my lifestyle, and it suits lots of other people. So that's one type of flexibility. But I think employers are learning that other types of flexibility are as important for their workforces, or becoming more important. So the whole drive to 4-day-a-week working, I think, is really quite an interesting development. The whole thing about annualised hours, or shorter hours, or term time contracts, and I can go on and on and on. And I think, even part-time, 8.5 million people work part-time in the UK. 8.5 million. It's getting almost way over course. It's about a third of the workforce is working part-time. And one of the things when you look at job adverts, I've said this to your listeners before, it's still only about 20% of jobs talk about flexible working. And, we're happy to have a conversation about hours. So what I think we've got is, it's a bit one-dimensional. We talk about flexibility at the moment. It's all about location. I think the really clever employers are going to be looking at flexibility as a differentiator. If you've got labour skill and talent shortages, we know candidates are really interested in this. So I think you've got to think about it right at the top of your sort of people strategy, and be very clear about when you're advertising or marketing roles about they can be done flexibly. Because otherwise, all of those 8.5 million people are just going to discount themselves from the jobs you're advertising, because they're going to think they're full-time and permanent. So we also have over 1.5 million people that work, as temps, contractors. So we've got one of the great things about our labour market is it's always been, very flexible. But I think the point is it's going to become even more so, because employers are going to have to use it as a key differentiator to attract people to their organisation rather than to a competitor.